What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Bonjour.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Yo.
In case you did not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube and iTunes.
It should be a thing.
Copyright.
What would iTube consist of? I wonder.
A
Maybe
blatant rip-off of YouTube.
Maybe it's POV style,
but in the color
only.
palette of iTunes.
You know, like
Yeah.
Google, like camera. When we all have cameras in
It's
our
all like when
eyeballs.
GoPros are stuck on you or
on
something
your
like
head.
that.
Yeah, that's iTube.
That's all iTube's
Patent
gonna
pending,
be.
patent pending, patent pending.
It's ours. Don't steal it.
Yeah.
Or Zach's, I guess. Don't steal it.
It's fine.
Okay. But if you want to... I lost my spiel now. Damn it. If you're on iTunes, you can find us there and a lot of other places on the internet as well. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. And as much as for... Man, I got all
For
thrown
as
off
much
now.
as
Ding,
$100
ding,
per
For
month.
$100. You can make our dreams come
billion.
true.
For
Maybe
as
we should
little
start-
as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we'll give you a cool perk like getting the episode early before its General Tuesday release.
If a guy can get 100 McNuggets, what did he get? 18.
I thought he got it for life.
He got like 1 million retweets for
Yeah.
free McNuggets for life, right?
Something like that.
Surely we can get.
I mean, that's what I'm all about, is getting those free McNuggets.
Yeah, we need a
love- I
team
thought
chat.
we
We need a team
established
chat
that they were
hashtag to
Wendy's
go.
now.
They are
viral.
Wendy's.
So they're not McNuggets.
No, I keep saying that.
Copyright.
I keep saying that.
But-
Do you see United tried to get in on that?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we'll give you a free trip anywhere that you go. And,
like,
and everyone's like, fuck you, United. I was like, damn, man.
suck.
We cannot forgive in this country, can we? Never forget.
Never forget. Never, ever forget. But we do have a winner of the song contest for this week. Our hint was given to us by Nicholas Boyden last week, and it was the mystic tale of a zombie, a pirate, and a
Squid.
Squid. That's what it is. And the song
Squid.
was Shantae and what's
So
the
you
full
got it
title?
right?
I don't know.
You got it right.
That's
Yeah.
full time. But
Yeah.
it's Shantae and the... God damn it.
See,
From
I
what
don't know the
game?
full title. I
don't
just
have
guessed
my phone.
Shantae.
From what game?
Shantae.
What's the song called? Shantae?
Shit if I
Shantae's
know.
theme.
Wait, what's Shantae?
Do you have
Shantae?
access to the
fuck is
email?
this game?
We can look this up.
Oh,
But
God, you know I
it's
don't.
Shantae. It's from that game series. And Mogan got it right. So-
That's all you need to know.
And that's all you need to know. So she will have the song and hint for us at the end of this
I
episode.
was blatantly
police.
guessing, which is why I didn't include any like
You must have known a
additional
little
title.
bit.
Or a
I was
little
like, if
info
I
about
say
it.
anything more about Shantae, they're gonna know I haven't played it. So the only reason that I know about Shantae at all is because A, it comes up on a lot of indie game like registries and lists and all that stuff, and B, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. Shantae was one of the characters that a lot of people wanted to see in Smash back when they were still releasing new characters
okay.
for the Wii U
I don't
version.
know anything about this.
So I listened to it and I was like, I don't know many games that include pirates. It may have been Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, which I've been informed just now is a game. So that one
that looks similar
probably
to
is
the,
it.
to the art that he showed me.
Yeah, I'm
So I
pretty sure
think
that
that's what it
Shantae
is.
like
Her.
is a pirate, right?
I don't know.
She's like a cute little pirate girl,
got
and she does
purple
little
hair.
puzzle adventures, and she's got like a scimitar and stuff.
Yep.
And that's all I know about it. And I listened to it, and I was like, of all the things I can think of that sound like they would match this,
Jeez, some of this.
Shantae.
Whoa.
Don't scroll too far to the
Yeah,
right.
it's
don't
like
scroll.
a lot of like,
Getting into dangerous
she's not wearing a lot of
territory.
clothes sometimes.
But yeah, so that was the game. I'd never heard of that game, so it was fun
You've
to learn
really
of something
never
new.
heard of Shantae?
No, I don't think
It's
so.
a very popular.
I liked the song though.
yeah. Oh,
the song was really good. So I want to give that
Yeah.
soundtrack a
9
check
out
out
of
a little
10,
bit.
Shantae kind of falls into similar mindsets as things like Shovel Knight would. Yeah.
okay.
Which I really want to play Shovel Knight.
I don't. Just the same way I don't really want to play Shantae. It looks fun. I'm just probably not
into
going
it.
to play it.
Yeah. Shovel Knight is one that I want to get eventually for the Vita, just to have on that's
I
that's
do
the kind
feel
of thing
like Shantae and Shovel Knight fit the handheld.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Really well.
You know, the whole thing about like lately we've been seeing a lot of these indie games coming back with the like retro 8-bit, 16-bit
Yeah.
look. To me, like, I don't know. I don't want to play that on like my TV necessarily. I want
Right,
to play that
right.
on a handheld.
I get that.
Because
I
that
get
feels more right. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
it does
that's
because
just
it
me.
reminds you of the Game Boy days.
Right.
And you're
Yeah,
like, this is
right.
appropriate.
That's the proper
Yes,
platform for
it
games
is.
that look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for that hint. Stick around to the end of the show where Mogan will be giving
Are
us.
you ready for that, Mogan?
I wasn't expecting to be right. So
So
Hey, she'll think of something.
I'll think of something.
you're good on the fly with that kind of
It's gonna be a
thing.
Jarrett heavy episode.
That's right. As every episode
And
should
every episode should be.
But we are going to go a little bit out of order for this episode because the topic of the show for today is, even though we kind of thought that I might not do this, we did decide that I am going to give a more story-based review of Horizon Zero Dawn. I finished the game, got that platinum trophy, and now I just want to talk about it a little bit more and go a little more in depth into the
Everyone
game.
just pressed skip.
There's going to be some spoilers.
There's going to be a lot of spoilers.
Which is why we're doing, we're going to do Moment with Mogan first. We're going to do our little bit normal catch-ups of random news and things that we want to talk about before we jump into it. And then we'll give you plenty of warning before we start into the Horizon discussion. So those of you who don't want it spoiled can stop listening there and skip ahead to the song contest at the end. So
The best part.
that's
The
how we
best
do it.
part.
The best part.
So the one thing I wanted to start off with, and I wonder if we'll touch on it at all with the Moment with Mogan, so I'm thinking we might want to just go ahead and go into that first, because we had a lot of things that that we talked about in our E3 predictions episode last week that have already been either answered or knocked out as
Knocked out of the rumor mill.
maybe not knocked out of the rumor mill, but I guess because they've been answered.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
So let's go ahead and do the Moment with
There we
Mogan,
go. That's the
and
word.
then we'll rehash some of those things that have been.
Okay, so first we're going to start with the out nows, which includes a correction. So Rime did come out on May 26th, so that is out now, but only for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I mentioned that Whatever Odd company is porting it to the Switch, and that is going to be available on August 31st.
Oh, wow.
Not May 26th,
a
so that
long
was my
gap.
bad. Yes. So it's also going to be, I've realized, a whole $10 more expensive on the Switch. So it's like, I'll be getting it for PS4, thank you. So Rime is now available for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So is the Don't Starve Mega Pack. That one is for PS4 and Xbox One. Ys Origin just came to the PS Vita. Zach and I were just derping around
We
with
were.
Jarrett's Vita.
I never held one
We
before.
were like, wow, this thing is dumb.
Why does Jarrett have this?
Shut your damn mouth.
Shut. You hold your tongue, sir.
This is amazing. I love my Vita.
And then we have Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, which just came to the Switch. So that one did just come out. And then coming soon, so excited, we'll save it for last. Okay, the ones that don't matter, Dirt 4, sure, why not?
Hey, that's a racing game.
He likes those
And
racers.
I like those games.
He likes it.
It sounds good. I'm
sure the
looking
physics are
forward to
top notch.
All right, so
Sexy
Dirt 4
physics.
is coming out June 6th, and that's for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So is Elder Scrolls Morrowind Online
Yes.
coming out
Yes.
PS4, Xbox One, and PC also June 6th. And the only one that actually matters to me this entire month of June, because it's actually going to be a really dry month. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've looked at the schedules. Not a lot is coming out.
I don't
in
have
June.
really anything. I've said this before. I don't really have anything that I'm really looking forward to till like August.
Yeah.
So the only
Yeah.
thing that matters is Tekken 7
No.
is
Bum, bum,
finally
bum.
coming out
7.
on June 2nd for PS4 and Xbox One. No excuses. Everyone should get in and play it. Tekken is the best. And then in some news, we actually do have a little bit that ties into today's topic. They just released the newest patch for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
So primarily, unlike some of the other ones which dealt with additions like the photo mode, for example, this one is primarily addressing bugs like the lure call, being able to summon bandits, for example, from across the other side of a camp, basically by manipulating its range. They got rid of that, so you can't do that anymore. And other
used
stuff
that
like...
much.
I don't know what that is.
I know what it is. I just never used it.
and other things like just general game progression and other glitches. And then we also have acclaimed RPG sequel, Divinity Original Sin 2, now has a release date. So they've just
Squatch.
announced that it will officially be coming out September 14th for the PC. So Divinity Original Sin, when did the first one come out?
It's an older game, I feel like.
It is, but it was really popular back in the
Yeah,
day.
because I've seen a lot of it. Like, it's still, I feel like, is on the front page of Steam
Yeah.
and everything every time I open it.
And that's why people are super excited for Original Sin 2. So they're really happy that it finally now has an official release date. So that's, again, September 14th. And then in some other news that you and I kind of already talked about, Red Dead 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 has officially been pushed back to an unknown date in 2018.
So far, they're saying spring.
I heard summer.
Well,
I've already heard
Rockstar delays a
summer
lot, so
because they actually had a statement from Strauss Zelnick, Take-Two's president, and he was basically saying, "Look, for a game like this, which is really like inflated and whatever, but he's like, for a game like this, it doesn't matter what time of year you release it. If we release it in summer, people are still going to buy it."
I mean,
and I was
that's
like,
true.
"Okay,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, I
like-
know.
like that kind
It
of
doesn't really
swagger.
matter.
No.
So basically he was like, "Look, we don't give a crap about the holiday season.
Yeah.
We're going to release it when we're ready."
Go
so
fuck yourselves.
Go fuck yourself.
Consumers.
Because
we
when
read
did-
between the lines.
Yeah.
when did Grand Theft Auto 5 come out?
That came out, I believe, I might be wrong about this, spring 2013?
What was the exact date?
I remember playing it in May of a springtime.
kidding you.
It's either 2013
I want to say that
or
it came out in the
2014.
spring too.
May 5th. I bet I'm right.
Maybe 2014.
Oh, look it up. Please tell
It
me
came
I'm
out
right.
no, because it came out before the 4 and Xbox One, I think. Because remember they did the remasters.
It came out before the Xbox One.
What?
September 17th,
What?
2013.
So I was not
Okay,
correct.
so yeah, so it would have come out right before the PS4 and all that stuff.
Okay.
Because the PS4 came out in November 2013, I believe.
That was a good year.
That was a good year. Yeah. So it obviously isn't going to matter.
Yeah.
But I did hear that and I was bummed, but also then relieved because it frees up another $60 I don't have to spend, and I can spend to something else and not feel guilty about
Exactly.
buying too many games. Because while right now I'm in a dry spell, the fall is going to have so many games, and
If only you would join up Splatoon. July 21st, man.
so
It's
I'm very
coming.
much considering asking for a Switch from birthday.
You need to, because you're missing out, man.
Because
you
now
are
there's
seriously missing out.
Now there's Zelda, Mario Kart 8, and
I'd wait for
And
another
Splatoon.
game.
And there's going to be
Well, there's
whatever
going to
it's
be
called.
there's going to be Mario Odyssey.
There we go,
Apparently,
Mario.
I'd almost wait for Mario Odyssey.
apparently they're also teasing.
not
Which
gonna get
it's not going to be
Splatoon.
this year.
I might.
You-
When does that come out?
I will kill you.
When does that-
July 21st.
Oh, okay.
July 25th.
Yeah,
better.
Splatoon and Zelda 2. Yeah, you just don't do it now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's a birthday present and somebody buys it for me,
Well,
then
okay, what-
then that's
that's a
not my
hint.
that's not my money.
Hypotheticals here.
No, I'm dropping serious hints to the listeners. But birthday's coming up July 5th. But anyway, but no. So I heard that and I was kind of like, oh damn.
Damn the devil.
I was very disappointed. They gave us a lot of cool screenshots though to go with it, and one of the screenshots that I've seen put around, a lot of it is a cowboy holding two guns. So if you could dual wield
In Red Dead?
and Red
You can
Dead,
do that in Splatoon.
that'd be pretty cool.
You can
Splatoon
probably.
is not Red Dead.
Yes,
okay,
it's a different game.
different game entirely.
My goodness.
Trying to be helpful.
So the excitement's still there, but definitely,
You couldn't dual wield in the original?
Yeah, that's
I
actually
don't
surprising.
think so. No,
It's not like
unless I'm forgetting.
I hope dual wielding isn't the innovation for Red Dead Redemption 2. It'd be
I'm sure
cool.
it's not.
I
Maybe
know.
you have to hold a PS4 controller in each hand.
it's like the supposed
Make you
cheat
buy more
or thing for
controllers.
Star Wars Pod Racer for the N64. Apparently, you can hold a controller in each hand and steer it.
Really?
Apparently, they say that's a thing. I haven't been able to try.
That's
it
like
yet.
a little glitch.
I need to
hint
try it.
cheat.
I have Pod Racer. I just never have tried getting it
That'd
to
be
work.
cool.
But I heard that about that, and then the other thing about E3 that I was wanting to hear more about, that actually today a lot of it was confirmed about what it's going to be is Far Cry 5,
Ooh, I did see that.
Makes
They
sense.
released the
Makes
official
sense.
cover art.
which
Yeah.
obviously I get excited about games and I'm excited about Far Cry because I really love that series. But after seeing the cover art, I am so excited.
I mean, let me see.
Because so they started dropping these teaser trailers earlier this week.
Funny that I've never played Far Cry.
I think you'd like Far
I know, it's a
Cry.
game that I feel like is right up my alley.
But so don't talk about it quite yet because I'm building up to it, to what the cover art is. But so they released these teaser trailers, and people were long assuming that it's going to take place in America. So they were thinking it was going to be a like Old West kind of thing. Well, they started releasing these trailers, revealing that their game's location was going to be in this fictional place, Hope County, Montana. Well, Hope County is fictional, Montana's not, but then it was going to be a current setting, like it was going to be in modern time. So everyone's like, "Whoa, what's happening?" Well, today they released the cover art, and it looks like the bad guys are going to be a militant Christian cult.
Yeah, that'd be a good guess there.
They
Which-
kind of look like they're out of Duck Dynasty.
Which holy,
Yeah.
A
They
little,
do.
yeah, a little bit.
which going back to something that we've talked about with you, where you're like, give us a different setting.
This is a very different setting, actually.
Like, could you get a more
Yeah.
different setting?
Yeah, this is very interesting.
A cult in Montana. That is pretty.
I
and
didn't
in modern
notice
day,
the wolf there. The
The
dog.
wolf, the guy sitting here with
Sinner on his back.
It burned into his back. Obviously, the call out to the Last Supper painting.
Yep.
But then also, I was reading Polygon I was reading an article of Polygon about it, that the stars in the American flag on the cover are the Iron Cross that Hitler used. So possibly some like neo-Nazism thrown in there
gosh.
too.
Sounds
So-
like modern times.
Sounds like modern
Sounds
times.
like outdoors.
It really does.
I
And
wonder if they
so-
were developing this game and then a bunch of recent events happened.
Yeah,
they
they're
were like, good
"Ugh."
timing.
Yeah.
This is going to work
This
out
is
really
great.
well
This
for
is
us.
going to go great.
So I saw that cover art and got so excited. Because
I do think that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Because like that is one thing we always fight in video games. You're always fighting like some kind of evil foreign power, or terrorists, something like that. But you're never can I think of that you're fighting. Well, I will say, with the exception of like the Homefront games or something like that, you're fighting in somebody who invaded the U.S. But you don't usually fight somebody who's already on your own soil.
I
Right.
only hope that you're
Homegrown
just like
Right.
a regular old U.S. federal state park trooper.
Well, the
Yeah, I wonder what you.
The thing with Far Cry and of the ones that I've played, you're always just kind of this person who's thrown into it.
Yeah, it's like darn. It's like a
Yeah.
fuck.
In Far Cry 3, you're a teenager young adult who's there having a vacation with his friends. Then you get attacked by pirates,
Right,
and that
yeah.
kind of kicks it off for you there. Far Cry 4, you're this young man who's grown up in America. His parents immigrated from Kurat, the country that you go back to for Far Cry 4, and then you get captured and then roped into all the civil unrest and civil war that's going on there.
Is
So
that Venezuela or Colombia?
no, it's actually in
made-up one?
Asia. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
It's kind of, you're supposed to think it's like Nepal-esque place.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it in the mountains?
Yeah.
How
So,
about them?
but so those both games are great. So I bet the set off for this will be very similar in Far Cry 5. Like I would be surprised if these people are, if you're this like well-trained dude who just runs into it. That's part of the
I
thing
think
about
it would be pretty interesting if you were a defector.
that would be cool too.
Maybe you're the guy on the cover with Sinner written on his back.
That would be cool.
Pretty cool.
My favorite of the teaser trailers that they showed is it's a church, old timey church building.
Yeah.
And the camera's just slowly zooming in on it, and you hear the bell ringing. And as the flyby keeps going of the church, you see the bells being rung because somebody is up there smashing somebody's head into the bell.
no.
That's nice.
And I was like, which perfectly sets the tone for Far Cry.
Yeah, that's a very Far Cry-esque thing. It's like
Yeah.
almost funny. It's
And that's the point of it.
ridiculous.
So I saw that cover art and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Which I don't know if they said, if they've slated release date. I think it's supposed to come out within the next year, but I don't know if that means this year or like early next year.
I bet it'll be next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, if they're
2018.
releasing the trailer now, there's no way it's going to come out this year.
Because Far Cry Primal came out in February of last year.
just last year. They've
so
gotta give it more time.
It'll probably be early next year, I would imagine, before that comes around. But those are like the two things I was like, I want to see this at E3, and now they already answered my question, so I guess I don't need to watch E3 anymore.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, your favorite things are already out.
So, but no, yeah. So that Far Cry, I saw that today, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited, so excited.
What's it actually going to be? Just Far Cry 5?
Far Cry
Does
5.
it have like a subtitle or something
Usually
like
they
that?
don't. Primal is the only one that did. Well, they've had Far Cry. Okay, take it back. They had Far Cry 3. The normal ones of the series that are the numbered entries don't have a subtitle.
Okay.
They've had Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which was really fun because it's like an 80s sci-fi setting.
That does
I love
sound
that one a
cool.
lot. I play it. I haven't finished it yet, but I like it a lot. And then they've had Far Cry Primal. And then so now they're going back to a numbered Far Cry 5.
Okay, very cool.
But yeah, so it's a fun series. If you guys haven't checked those out and played any of those,
I know.
you
I have a
should-
good
you should
friend
try
that
them.
loves
Far Cry usually comes
Far
out
Cry.
for Sony and Microsoft,
Yeah,
right?
it's for
Yeah,
both. It's
it'll
for
be
both.
for both. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, unless we had any other news that we wanted to cover, I think we will go ahead and jump into the in-depth and spoiler-riddled review of Horizon Zero Dawn, so we can finally lay this classic game to
It's
rest.
already
To
a
rest.
classic.
It's already a classic.
for a while at least. Oh yeah.
No, that's my
It's gonna be there.
Yeah. That's my review. That's great.
All right. So I've talked enough about in the past about Aloy as a character. So I'm not going to necessarily dwell on that
where are you gonna start?
too much. I'm really going to just kind of go into the story and talk a bit more about why I think the story is such a great story.
Okay.
And then some extra pros and cons of the game that I came across now that I've actually finished. So, and then all like the different activities and things like that you can do, because they give you a lot of activities to do. So I will start. So again, like I said, final warning, spoiler territory. You're in it deep right now. If you go any further, I cannot promise that you will come out unscathed and have something not have something spoiled for you with the game. So yeah, you've been warned, and here we go. Warned.
It's your fault now.
It is your fault now. If you spoil it, don't come crying to us.
Yeah.
All right.
Nope.
So, beginning of the game basically starts off and with Aloy as a baby, as an infant, being given to Rost, who is an outsider of the Nora tribe, and Aloy is given to him to raise and train because she is also now being just predestined to be an outsider by the ruling mothers of the Nora tribe.
Do you already know that what happened with like society? But you do know you're in the future.
You do know you're in the future. I mean, you
Okay.
get that from just like,
pressing start.
well, yes, because when it starts, the game starts, the text screen at the beginning is like Earth, the far future, and then it like
Okay.
says Earth's been overrun, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Oh, so it gives you like a little opening cutscene.
Little bit. And so
Gotcha.
this is where all this is. Aloy is given to Rost, being told and is told that he has to take care of her and all that by the mothers, because the Nora tribe is ruled by women called mothers.
Shut up.
I'm totally joking. I'm totally joking.
And so anyway, you follow Aloy from then. Then it jumps ahead to when she's 6 years old, and Rost is training her. But the whole thing is, you don't know who her mother is. No one knows who her mother is. All that you know is that you came from the mountain, which is like this, which is like a sacred place that only the mothers can go into, and you don't really know why. You just know you came from there, and the mothers are there, and they gave you to Rost, and because you can't be a part of the tribe because you're like it's weird where you came from when they can't explain it. Because the mountain is viewed as a god, because as you can see, it's built, or the mountain contains what seems to be the ruins of an ancient giant machine. So
I didn't know that.
So anyway, when you're training with Rost and starting to learn the basics of things, you find in this cave you go into, that you fall into rather, this triangular device that you call a focus, or your focus, because it allows you to like scan the environment and see things that you didn't normally see, like resources, technology, different things like that.
So in the game, is this something that you hold, or is it like a piece of gear?
It's attached to your ear.
Oh, okay.
And
so it's a Bluetooth.
Yeah, pretty
Gotcha.
much. That's what it kind of looks like.
Cool.
And so then Aloy uses it, and she's just like, "Oh, this is really cool." And then like Rost, when he's like, "What is?" and she's like, "Yeah, it's mine. You can take it."
Classic 6-year-olds.
But anyway, so then she's like really determined, because she gets teased by a group of kids from the Nora tribe that they can't talk to her, and like they have to turn away, but one like still manages to make fun of her and all that, and so she gets really
Loser.
that's basically what she feels. She feels like, and she can't understand why. She doesn't know. She's just like, why am I an outcast? And and Rost is just like, answers will come, you'll find out. But there is a way you can find out by eventually competing and completing this event that the Nora tribe called the Proving, which if you win the Proving, you're given a boon by the mothers. And so you can, get anything. And so Aloy, then if she were to win, could ask for more information about her mother, or be accepted into, become a part of the Nora tribe. Well, you become part of the Nora tribe by winning, and then, you get this extra special thing. So she's like, okay, that's how I'm going to, Rost, teach me everything. So then, you get a cool, fun, awesome training montage kind of thing as she grows up, and then it gets to where she is, which I believe when the game takes place, she's like 19 or 20, I believe,
Okay.
when the game events start. And the first thing, and so then it goes, and she does go and compete in the Proving, and she winds up, okay.
How frequently does the
Theo.
Proving happen? Is this like a common thing that they do every year?
I don't think so. I think it's like with each generation of children, when they grow up, given the Proving, and then it happens with kids, once kids reach a certain age, I believe is the thing. So anyway, they go and compete in the Proving, and she does wind up winning. Well, when the Proving, at the end of the Proving, they are suddenly attacked by these soldiers, and everyone there is killed.
Jesus.
And all the people who took place in the Proving are killed. Aloy is then singled out by the leader of these people, and then to be whose name is Helis, and he is going to try to kill Ayla there, and he says, like, turn toward the sun, and, like, really menacingly, he's like holding him, it's like, turn toward the sun, and then he's like about to stab her. Rost comes in,
nice.
knocks her away, and then fights Helis, but then Rost, like, incapacitates Helis some way, but then Helis is able to, like, stab Rost, and then you're like, no,
bro, spoilers.
Rost is fucking awesome,
dude.
I said. Spoilers.
So that's an
coming
early death that you feel.
Yeah.
So approximately what percentage of the way through the game are these events taking
there's
place?
still-
if you're
It's
going,
the beginning.
it's very beginning.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
okay,
very beginning.
gotcha.
Like
Like
second,
chapter 1.
second, third story
Okay.
mission. Yeah. So Rost is able to get you to safety before he finally does die. And so then you wake up later inside the mountain, and then the mothers found you, and they were like healing you. So you've been unconscious for some amount of time. And basically they tell you that, like you don't have a mother. We don't know who your mother is because you literally came from the mountain. Like they show you this big, huge metal door that's in the mountain, and they're like, we came in here one day and
Listen.
you were.
Listen,
You know as much as you do.
They were like, one day it's been closed for as long as we've been alive. One day it opened, and you were there, and then
Wow.
it closed, and it hasn't opened since.
Oh, wow.
And so you eventually learned because through someone you interacted with before the proving started, because you met this Oseram, which is another tribe, an Oseram soldier named Erend, and you met somebody he came with named Olin. And you learn later that Olin also had a focus, and so that but you were targeted specifically because somebody who could see through Olin's focus saw you. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so that kind of is the catalyst of like, okay, well, I got to figure out who my mother is and why was I specifically targeted for this. So without going in through the full, complete detail of what happens and all the thing in between there, you eventually meet up with you go to this, another tribe, Karja, who are like the bigger tribe of all the tribes, which, and they have the city Meridian, and they're like, you'll find answers there. That's where the Oseram guy, Erend, and Olin came from. So you go there for more answers and searching things. And then you finally, as you go through and you're discovering more from these ancient, from the ruins of the ancient world, the old ones they're called, which you know is like the modern human, or humans we know now.
so do the ruins just look like regular city buildings?
But very decrepit, very torn apart, like just like remnants, basically, nothing more. But there are like some older places like that look like older cities or older structures. But anyway, you run into eventually someone who then contacts you through the okay, so you basically learn, I'm trying not to get confused and out of whack here. Olin is working for the people who attacked you at the proving.
Gasp.
Oh.
Spoiler.
Because
Twist.
they captured his family and basically forced him to do it.
Ah.
And they all
Okay,
had
he's a good
focuses
guy.
too, because they found them through digging and digging around in ancient ruins. They found more of these focuses and they've been able to replicate them and give them. And so you find out the people who attacked you are this group, this militant cult-ish offshoot of the Karja called the Eclipse.
Okay.
Sounds sinister.
Yeah, and they're led by Helis. And so as you go on, you're contacted by someone through your focus. So you just see like this hologram of him basically, and his name is Silence. And he's like, I know some things. I know how these focuses work. I kind of know some things about the Eclipse too. I can help you figure out. And I want to figure out what all the old ones were, where these machines came from, why they're suddenly, becoming more aggressive and starting to attack more, because they used to, like years past, they said the machines were very docile that you came across and they didn't hurt you at all. But now they've become very aggressive and attacking and all this other stuff. And so through Silence, you realize so you start to uncover the backstory of what happened. So basically, what happened before in the old world was there was this corporation, the Pharaoh Industries, led by Ted Pharaoh,
Big business.
and they were. And
Always
this was like in
bad guy.
2060 or 2360, something like that. It's
We're getting there.
It's in the future. Basically, he made these robots. They were supposed to be these machines because they were supposed to be for like military use. And the whole thing about them is that like there were these. He built the machines and the different kinds of machines, like the attacking machines, but then he also built machines that could replicate and build other machines. And so, but the thing is, to prevent anyone from being able to take them over, or, steal them away from his corporation, he didn't build a back door, basically a kill switch into these machines. But then there did become some kind of code error or something that pushed out that caused the machines to basically become a singularity and like start generating and producing themselves.
Yeah.
And what the robots and machines run off of is biomass. So like they will, suck in like plant life, human life, animal life, everything.
Whatever.
That's what creates
We've
their
seen
fuel.
Terminator.
Yeah.
We're
all familiar.
We're all familiar.
with the films.
And so basically they're expanding at a rate that the humans cannot control. They can't shut them off because this all happened.
Thanks a lot, douchebag CEO of whatever.
This sounds like it's actually going to happen in a couple of years.
Yes.
Who knows?
We're really familiar.
And so
Thanks, Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Elon Musk.
you find out that maybe it just hates me.
Maybe it's you.
Yeah, maybe it's this cord.
I don't know. No, because we didn't switch cords. But anyway, so you learn then, if you're watching these old holograms that you learn, that you find when discovering, when searching through old ruins with Silence, you find a person in them who looks like you. And her name is
shock.
Elizabeth Sobek is her name. And so you
It's a
you're
normal
like,
name.
you look like her and you're like, okay, but I can't be her necessarily. But you realize that because of your shared resemblance to this person, to Elizabeth Sobek, you are the reason, that is why the eclipse is hunting you. So it goes on a little bit more, and you discover that the eclipse are being driven and directed by this god, devil, demon, whatever that they call Hades. And Hades is the one who basically said, kill her. When Olin saw Aloy back in the beginning, Hades, who is tied into the Eclipse's focus network, was able to see her and was like, bad kill,
Bad kill.
basically. So it goes on, time goes on, and you realize that the importance of Dr. Sobek is that she headed up a project called Zero Dawn, basically to save the world. Because they couldn't stop the robots, they couldn't stop the machines from advancing, and so she's like, "This is our only option. This is what we got to do." And you really don't figure out what that is until like the very end of the game. Basically, what it is she sent out the call to gather certain people who are like the masters of their field, master artists, master historians, master scientists, all this, and bring them to this one place. And what was happening there is that these people, she was building this project called Zero Dawn, where she was basically creating a supercomputer or a super entity that she called Gaia. And then Gaia was going to have these offshoots that like semi supercomputer things that were going to basically help maintain and store the knowledge, Earth's knowledge. So like one was called Apollo, and it was going to have all like Earth's learnings, like history, art, all this. Because here's the thing, they basically knew, we're shit out of luck here on Earth.
Yeah.
We can't stop this. It's gonna be destroyed.
So they had all this robot technology, but no like space technology.
No, they did. And so they tried to like leave at one point, but also this happened so fast and happened within like months. They had like months to do all this stuff. And so they built up this computer, which basically its sole intent and purpose, Gaia's purpose, was after life ended basically on Earth, because that was inevitable, that Gaia would, they were finally able to build in some kind of like thing that would basically wipe out the robots. I'm actually not totally sure on what this is. Basically, I can't remember now, even though that was like the last part that I played in the game. But basically, the robots would take over, human life would be destroyed, but then basically this Gaia program would be able to cause an apocalypse of some kind to wipe out the robots. And then after, they ran out of biofuel, so they couldn't create any more fuel. So basically once the robots ran out of energy, this Gaia program was to kickstart. And they had cryogenically stored like seeds and plant life and everything all in this too. So, but they made Gaia smart enough to be able to know when that had happened,
feel it out,
basically.
see if conditions
and
were
then
good.
begin planting life and basically restarting. Basically, made a god computer, basically, where it's like, I'm going to start here, trying to replant things here. And they also made Gaia smart enough to be able to design and build anything that might assist her in repopulating. So that's the monsters that you have of the day.
Yeah.
They made these like various fabrication sites throughout the world. And when Gaia determined on what Gaia felt like she needed, she would create a machine to help do that task. So like the big stormbirds the big, huge bird ones were used to clear out electrical, like basically purify the air. So like they all had these like different. This is what I mean when I said a couple weeks ago that like the story is the most like
really good
original that I've heard of in this sci-fi realm in a really really long time.
What is the big flat head, long neck's purpose?
So
you like that title too?
Yeah,
it's very
flathead. They're called tall necks in the game.
Oh, see,
you
so close.
They're like sonar. They're like sonar stuff like that. So anyway, and so you basically learn that everyone who was alive before is dead and died, and they all knew that was going to happen. And so what you're living in is an iteration of Gaia, of the world that Gaia recreated. Now the thing about it is Gaia had one of the other counterparts or super cores or whatever that Gaia had in a part of Apollo and all that was one called Hades.
Naturally.
Basically,
if they hadn't named one of them Hades, nothing bad would have happened.
Yeah, it's on the name.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
The whole thing of Hades, his whole existence and part of why he was there was to prohibit the world being restarted wrong. So like if something happened with like weather conditions or the robots that Gaia made started going crazy, basically Hades would restart the apocalypse and like wipe everything again and allow Gaia to start over because they weren't doing humans yet. They were trying to re-get the life and the plant life and animal life restarted. And then once they felt like Gaia felt like she had a solid foundation, then human life, because they also created like fake womb, fake embryos to be able to, stored DNA, old DNA
Test
to be able
babies.
to, to be able to repopulate the earth. So that's what you figure out then is what the whole population of the earth is at this point, or, further generations on down the line, but people who were all formed from these, test tube babies, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so the thing is, Aloy's finding all this out, and she's still like, okay, so what's the big deal? So that's why Helus is all about following Hades, because he's like this supercomputer, like god thing that's just talking to him and showing these powers, because Hades can corrupt the machines, which is what's kind of creating the bad, angry monsters and everything from coming up. So basically, to sum this up, I feel like I'm rambling a lot and just telling everything that doesn't need to be necessary. But anyway, so you basically find out that while the development of Zero Dawn was going on, there was a breach in the wall of Gaia Prime, which was like the main headquarters of everybody who was left. Because everybody who was taken into the project to pass on their knowledge, they had to stay there. They couldn't leave, and like it was pretty much you can either choose to help us out, but we can't let you leave, because if you leave and tell the whole world that you're fucked, like then you're just going to cause the world to give up, and we won't be able to have time, and then the robots will win before we go. So you either had to stay there and help, or choose to be euthanized, basically, because like we can't have you using our resources if you're not going to help, so it's like this whole thing. So at this one point in the past, Gaia Prime, where all this is taking place, has like a breach in its exterior, and somebody has to go out and seal it, but but once you seal it, you can't open it again, because of all the signals and everything inside it would alert the machines, who would then be able to come and find everyone. So it's basically like a structure that blocks all outgoing transmission kind of thing. So, Elizabeth Sobek volunteers to go do it, and so everyone else, inside is trapped inside, and she's obviously, sacrificed herself, because the project's done. Basically at that point, there's just a few more, basically the execution of it. But then after that happens, Ted Farrow, who's still around and
of course
because he's bankrolling Zero Dawn to try to make it better. He's bankrolling the project to try to get it going.
I was about to say, is he still being evil out in the world?
Well, he calls all the people who the main people, they were called like the alphas. He brings them all together to this conference room to like talk to them and be like, hey, got an issue here that I want to talk about. Basically, he's afraid that if we gave the future generations all the like knowledge and everything we've learned, that they would just only repeat our mistake. He wants life to be able to start brand spanking new, fresh, make everyone learn everything. So that's why. So anyway, when he's sitting there, he basically tells everybody, "Yeah, I just destroyed Apollo."
Whoa!
So like everybody, and everyone obviously starts freaking out. And he's like, yeah, and I kind of knew that you guys weren't going to take this very well. So he depressurizes the room that they're all in and kills them all.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
What a jackass.
god.
Yeah. So basically, that explains why everyone's basically in the Stone Age again.
Corporations, man.
That's right.
Because
It's always
because of
the
all
bad
this.
guys.
So
Oh my gosh.
and so then you realize that the last final place you have to go to learn more is another bunker, basically, which is the door in the mountain back in the Nora homeland.
Oh, okay.
Is you're like, okay, I have to go there to figure it out. So you go there, you're bioscanned by the door, which previously it hadn't let you in, but now it's allowing you in because it recognizes you as Elizabeth Sobek. You allow that to happen by accomplishing some things in the missions. And so then you get in there and there's a recording for Gaia. Basically, she tells you that something went wrong in Hades' programming. And and so basically he's having to be dormant now because she made him that way. She sent a code, but with the efforts of the Eclipse having found him again and then trying to reawaken him, if they're able to start his sequence, he's going to launch another apocalypse thing on the Earth. And so that can't be happening. And she knew that was going to happen. The only way to stop it was to basically create a blast in Gaia to self-destruct herself. Was the only way to stop Hades from doing it again in the past. But she knew that the only way to reset it and fully stop it and fully, destroy Hades was if Elizabeth Sobek herself was there. But she's like, but I know you're dead, and that can't happen. So you then find out Aloy is pretty much a clone of Sobek, created by Gaia, to be able to come back to reinitialize the Gaia system, but then also enter in the purge code to destroy Hades.
Wow.
Francer.
That is interwoven story.
Yeah. And so yeah, I know that's super complex.
Good commentary,
I probably give way too much
out a little bit.
way too much info in that. I don't know. I got into it and then it couldn't stop. But so anyway, and then you wind up defeating Helus and the Eclipse and shutting down Hades, and all that. But then at the very end, there's an after credits scene where Silence, who's been your helper this whole time, is able to because his whole thing is I'm just trying to find out. I'm just trying to learn knowledge. I'm trying to learn about these old people. But
a learned man.
He
A learned man.
reactivates a piece of Hades.
Why?
an
On
idiot.
accident?
No, because he wants to learn what Hades can teach him.
Oh my god.
So that
like
kind
a
of sets
sequel?
up a sequel.
sequel.
So
Oh,
we'll see
he's
where
the
it goes
bad
from there.
guy of the next game.
Probably so.
Oh my gosh.
Silence.
Okay, so
Or I hope in the next game you're Hades. You realize that Silence is a jackass, and you're like, no, I want to be good now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real reversal.
so that's a very little too far in-depth version of recap of the story. Any questions from that before I get into the pros of what I like and what I don't like?
No.
Very thorough.
After you
So yeah, so like I said about the story, I was just like,
Yeah, it
holy
sounds
shit,
like
this
an
is so
amazing
original.
story, yeah.
And that's why I once I got into it, and I thought about halfway through, I was like, she's got to be a clone. and so I was like,
So obvious.
well, I was thinking, but I was like, could she be? How would she be there? How could she be a clone? Obviously this is hundreds of years.
playing.
Yeah, after hundreds of years of the events taking place. So the big things that I liked about this were the combat system was great. There was a lot of ways. You unlock skills to allow yourself to do other things. Like by the end of the game, you could notch 3 arrows to do a power shot kind of thing. You could also, whenever you were running and then slid and drew your arrow, it would slow time.
That's
so you could
fun.
do some cool stuff
like
there. You could also jump and that would slow time.
Yeah.
Riding,
Oh, you can do that in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
riding on the back
Not
of
special.
familiar.
riding on the back of an animal. You could or a machine. You could also draw, slow it down time to do all that stuff. But then what was cool about it is you could unlock tons of different weapons, and each weapon had different kinds of ammo types, like fire damage, ice damage, tear damage, to remove components to expose the softer insides of the machines kind of thing. And all those could be used in different ways to, aid the battle. Because the machines would have different canisters on them, like fire, blaze canisters, ice canisters, spark, electricity kind of things. And if you pierced those with the same kind of ammo type, it would set off a blast of that type of element, basically. And so if you froze a creature, then that makes it very easy. All your arrows do a ton more damage. Fire does, over time damage. sparking,
right.
free electricity damage, shock damage, basically freezes the machines and they're stuck and they can't
Also
move.
in Breath of the
Very
Wild, as
familiar.
you may
Yeah,
as you
Breath of
may
the
know,
Wild.
when
Very
you
similar.
explode an electric chew,
Yeah.
its blast shocks all those
There's-
around
yeah,
it.
Which I mean, I
shock
feel like
arrows,
I've
fire
come into
arrows,
that, with
it's
other
become-
games
yeah,
too.
it's become at least a common.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still,
feature.
But it doesn't make it any. That doesn't make it any less cool.
well, because
No, it doesn't. It's really
especially because it's not like you do this, like you could shoot like bombs of them that were of that element and eventually it would freeze the thing or do something. But each one like has that like soft spot, that like key spot that like if you crack it there, like it'll explode. Like the big ones, the Thunder Jaws have a freeze coil on their stomach, but it's on their bottom. So it's on their underside. So like there's a GIF I saw on Reddit and I tried to accomplish it myself, but I didn't have as good a success as this person. You could run towards the Thunderjaw, like coming right at you, slide, slow down time, and as you go under it, shoot the.
Oh, you
That's
couldn't
pretty
manage
cool.
that?
I tried it.
Come
Yeah, it doesn't sound-
on.
I got close.
You didn't try hard enough.
But and then it
I'm
like
gonna name my
explodes.
firstborn
It's a wrestler, I
Thunderjaw.
think.
That'd be pretty cool. And so the combat was just a really great system. Crafting, I also felt like can go either way for me in RPGs.
Yeah.
This one, it was the
never
right amount.
fully
Like
there.
I felt like I could go because with my tendency like this is I just stock up on everything. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
But
You can
even
pick
if
up
I did
everything.
that, I still always had to do it again. Sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like I can do it and then it'd be like set for the whole game. I feel like this one I had to craft collect resources and stuff so much. And you can either do that by collecting it by killing machines, getting it from plants, stuff like that, or you can go to merchants and you can buy things more in bulk or different things like that.
I'm all about that Sam's Club approach.
I like,
Yeah.
and I like
I'll be
meeting new
buying in
people.
bulk. like me.
Yeah,
I do.
and it works
Merchants,
out. It
you
worked
meet
out well,
characters,
but it was
yeah.
just it was a very well done crafting system because it didn't feel laborious, but it also felt like you had to check your resources. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
just play blind basically and just be like, I've got that, I'm good. You had to constantly kind of keep tabs on your inventory, go back and craft things, and of course you could hunt animals to then upgrade the carry capacity of like your quivers and your ammo pouches and different things like that.
Quiver.
And then it also had, so the weapons can do elemental damage with those certain things, but then you can also collect these mod coils that you could put into your armor or your weapons that would increase the benefits of the weapon or armor. So you could collect those from killing animals, machines, or discovering them from treasure boxes.
Does Aloy get other outfits beyond her one on the cover?
She does. She actually gets a ton.
Yes. Awesome.
I collected all of the rare ones.
I'm gonna look those up.
Yeah, you should. They're really cool. And so there's just a lot of differences that you can do there. I also liked, obviously, like I said, Aloy herself is a great character. One of my favorite characters now that I've come across in games, just because she is like Lara Croft and other female protagonists like that are very strong characters. They are, in their own right, badass in their own ways and everything. Aloy is one of the first though that I felt was a truly empowered female character, if that makes sense.
I would want you to expand on that.
Just in the sense of like, it's. I feel like I'm going to do a terrible way of explaining
I
this.
can take a guess
What do you think I'm saying?
by never playing Lara Croft and never playing Horizon Zero Dawn. But when I look at Lara Croft, I'm like, yeah, she is empowered, but only in the sense that. Well, I'm probably way off here.
Oh wait. Okay, I figured out how to say it. Aloy doesn't have the baggage that past Lara Croft games have given to the player with
okay.
how she's represented and how she's portrayed.
Gotcha.
Aloy is like
Brand
basically
new.
a clean slate.
Yeah.
And this is how she is from the offset. It's not like here she's the fifth iteration from Time
Yeah.
Gone.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that.
Okay, I do see what you're saying.
Aloy also
now.
seems in like again, I don't know much, but from what you've said, she seems empowered in a more realistic way.
Yeah.
Whereas Lara Croft is more like action hero,
Yeah. Like
empowerment.
Aloy
looks
is all about
she's
like
psychologically and mentally is the same
Right,
thing.
well,
But,
because
like,
she's had to like
defiant.
steel herself on her own. Like she was taught by Rost, who trained her in how to which makes sense. She's not just like with she just picked it up one day with bow and arrow one day. Oh, can you hit the camera? Bow and arrow one day, and suddenly she's a pro at it. Like she trained her whole life under Rost to become proficient in weapons and fighting and stuff like that, and to be a hunter. and then also because Ross was then taken from her, and then she then had to learn how to be her own self and to be confident in herself, and she is incredibly confident in herself. Like, she didn't take shit from really anybody at all, and you could choose to be the hard ass with somebody. Like, sometimes there would be dialogue options to be like a hard ass with somebody or compassionate with somebody, or just kind of neutral with that person. And this was one of the first times that I felt like I could justifiably be the hard ass to someone, and it wouldn't seem out of character, to the character or to how the story was going.
Gotcha.
Like, sometimes I feel like with some RPGs, like I felt this with like Fallout or Dragon Age or something, it gives you the option to be a dick, but you're kind of like, why would I choose that
Dragon Age,
option?
it never makes sense. I'm always like, why? Why would I choose to be
a dick?
You, like,
Everyone wants to marry me, and I want to marry everyone.
Exactly. But in this one, whenever that was an option, whenever it came up, you like, whenever I felt it justified to use the hard, firm answer, I felt completely justified, which I haven't felt like
of character rather than
like me trying to impose that on the character.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so, but then also too, just from a overall sense, the game did have a very strong, female empowerment message, which I also greatly appreciated. Like, the Nora were all led by women, and then the other tribe, Oseram, very much, it's still a more male led tribe, but the women there were very, like, they were iron workers and builders and crafters and everything, and like out drinking hard with the men kind of thing. It's like it was the same mentality. It like wasn't a thing. And I was thinking about this the other day. The cool thing about it was that another just cool thing about like the underlying message of the whole thing is that each tribe had people of different ethnicities and races in each tribe. It wasn't like the Nora were only white and then the Oseram were all black or something like that. Each tribe had Asian, African American, white, Hispanic people in it. But so it was an interesting note that like the divisions between the tribes were never because of an ethnicity or a race. It was like this tribe didn't like this tribe because they were that tribe, and everyone was in it and accepted as equal within the tribe. There was still the hierarchy and like the ruling class and lower kind of thing, but nobody was discriminated because of like a natural trait that they had. It was just like this clan doesn't like this clan because we fought them in a war.
Classic Hatfields and
ago.
McCoys.
Basically kind of thing, which I just was like, it was an interesting thing. It was like, it's obviously one of those things where we hope our own world would get to. I mean, obviously we would hope our own world got to the point where nobody was ever mad at each other, but like it was interesting to see a world where
that's how I play Pikmin. Where nobody's mad at anybody.
No. It was basically interesting to see a world where that wasn't an issue. Basically, it was there was still like the division because of like, oh, I don't like those Nora, they suck.
They wear their helmets weird.
But there was never like a race ethnicity diversity, which I thought was an interesting thing to have, and like a great viewpoint into like see what a world like that could be. And then let's see. Oh, and then also I definitely liked how the whole thing was like, obviously this isn't. These people are basically starting anew, but I still liked the parallels that these tribes had with old cultures. Like the Nora and Banuk tribes seemed very Scandinavian almost in their like dress and stuff, whereas the Karja, they seemed very much taken after like the Aztecs. So like,
interesting.
So when I said earlier, when Helis was trying to kill Aloy at the very beginning, he said turn toward the sun. The Karja worship the sun.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And so like you learn through the lore of the game, like there was the old king of the Karja was like the Mad King, the Mad Sun King is what they called him, and he would like sacrifice people in the sun ring to appease the sun. And so like a very
It's my kind of society.
call back to an Aztec time.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
And their dress is very, looks as like the Aztec and everything. So I liked how it pulled from that, where it's kind of like you're supposed to start fresh and you kind of just redid the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that with having lost all of the culture and history from the loss of Apollo, that it's still kind of
carried
managed.
over.
Yeah.
They still like this thing up in the sky seems really important. I think we should worship it.
I mean, if I kill a few people, perhaps the sky ball will be happy with me.
Exactly. So, but yeah, no. So just really, I guess to wrap it all up, those are the big things. Cons. I had a few control.
None. 10 out of 10.
Well, no, there were a few like
this game's a masterpiece.
It's great. I mean, like it's a definitely like
the music.
If I were to put a number like 9 and above for sure.
Shit.
Wink, wink.
But like the only like sometimes there would be some control issues, like some of the schematic, like when you would want to select a different weapon because you had the weapon. the weapon wheel, but then each weapon sometimes had different ammo types. So you'd have to not only select the weapon, but then also the ammo type.
Oh, that's annoying.
Well, no, they did it really well because it was like a wheel and it was just segmented.
It's one extra step.
But so like I did find myself a couple times when I was trying to fight and I'd want to pick like this certain arrow and I would wind up picking the bomb that was right next to it. And so little things like
Game's
that.
broken.
And then sometimes like I wish it would have had a better barrier for when you would want to drop to a ledge. You had to like hit drop to a ledge, or else you could just like run off a ledge and then die. So like that, you had to get used to that at the very beginning, which I was kind of like, that's frustrating.
Glitches.
And then sometimes too, like some of the like special attacks or like to like override a monster or to like do a machine or to do like a stealth attack on it, you'd have to be prompted when you were in range. But sometimes like it would show up, not very often, like it just wouldn't show up. And you'd hit it thinking you were in range, and then you just attack it normally and alert all the machines near you, and you're like, well, fuck, I gotta fight now. And so, just random little things like that. Some random little things like that. But overall, like gameplay wise, like it was great, and everything felt really natural and how it all connected and worked, and like aiming and gathering resources and all that. Just some minor little bugs like that I felt like just again weren't huge detractors, just kind of annoying whenever it did occur. But yeah, and then the music.
Yeah.
Out fucking standing.
Wow.
Like I said before, the soundtrack is 4 hours long.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of
and it's and it's like broken up into parts. So it's like there's like it's like the motherland, Victor, like all these different things. There's like 4 parts to it. And so some tracks that you should check out on that from what I've listened to. I mean, I listened to the whole thing, but it's also 4 hours long. So
my
it's
song
like
contest. I'm just kidding. That's not what it is.
So like Aloy's theme and stuff at the beginning is really great. City on the Mesa is also really good. It's for when you're in and around Meridian. And so, yeah, the soundtrack is definitely great. And again, got to give a shout out to the voice acting, outstanding voice acting on there. And I will also give a huge thumbs up to just the art environment. The world that they created is fucking beautiful, and it is actually like realistically generated. It's seen to you like the landscapes and everything. It's one of those things you literally just like sometimes stop and just like revolve the camera so you can look at it. Kind of thing.
The photos you took were beautiful.
Yeah, which I put a whole lot of photos that I took in game onto our Facebook page. If you want to go check those out. Yeah, the photo mode is great too. You can totally just make it. You can now they've added in like you can have Aloy be in different poses, not just like this default, just like her standing there.
That's also in Breath of the Wild.
And so
I could never figure that one out.
What? You just hit down.
Yeah, I didn't know
You're
that.
a fool.
Didn't know that.
You fool.
And so, but yeah, graphically outstanding game. Could have used, I mean, I know we're still getting there and it's getting better. It was one of the best uses of facial animations that I've seen.
Oh,
the conversations,
solid.
Aloy's expressions in certain parts were like, you could tell her expression. She didn't have to say what she was feeling. Like you could see it in her face, like what she was feeling, which I feel like, especially in RPG games, they tend not to focus on that as much as other game styles can with that have a shorter story or anything. But even with like random NPCs, like the animations were always usually really good. And I know, I mean, it looked great in 1080 when I was playing it on. I can't imagine what it looked like playing it on a 4K PS4 Pro. Like, it'd be legitimately good. It'd be ridiculous. I'm trying to think. Anything else?
Table for Hamana?
SpongeBob.
Comes back again.
Jerrett. Damn it.
I love that episode.
That's a great episode.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, as I've said before, and the other times I talked about it, obviously go play this game. It's definitely in my top 3.
Don't you want to play it now?
Okay, so I do want to talk about that. So why?
I would like to address the elephant in the room.
Well, no. I mean, I mean, if you don't want to play it, that's totally fine.
the matter with you?
Like, I'm not going to force you to play it. I just do want to kind of understand because like I said before we started recording, I think when I was playing this, I was like, this is a game. Like Mogan would love this game.
You might be right.
It sounds great.
I have no good reason for why I'm disinterested in this game.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
They're
like, I really don't have a reason. Like, it looks cool. It does. But
I mean, maybe get it sometime, like when it's on sales in the future, and like you're not playing anything else.
Soundtrack that'll jazz me up for it because I haven't listened to any of the OST yet. But just
okay, before you leave, I'm going to play it.
Oh, okay.
The OST,
okay, gotcha.
just so you can hear Aloy's theme.
Yeah, I like this. There's no good reason that I don't want to play it.
I get it. It's just not your time. You're just not ready to play it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I've got other stuff
Good
out
enough.
there.
Well, I mean,
Need a better reason.
to be fair, I mean, Breath of the Wild came out a few days after it did.
Yeah.
And so like
Yeah.
that then ate up your world, and so that's what you were going to be playing. So yeah, like I know there's not like a
Same
contest.
game.
Yeah, sounds like
So,
next time on Team Chat Podcast.
wait a minute. I've a conspiracy.
But no, yeah. So obviously, play the game. It's great. It's my number 2. I've officially decided. Yeah, it's my number 2 game.
Last
of all
of
time.
Us,
Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then Dark Forces as of right now. Yeah, kicked out Civilization. Civilization has to find a new home.
Fair. It's fair.
It is fair because it's great. And so and the big thing too is Guerrilla Games, the developer, they had previously been making the Killzone series, which is a first person shooter action game, which I love those games too. Those games are really fun. But then so to come back off of that in a completely new, different direction and to be able to produce Horizon Zero Dawn is a tremendous effort, and incredible props to them for being able to make such a good game and to, take the chance on a new IP for one, and then be able to knock it out the park the way they did.
Yeah.
Excellent job.
Yeah, for real. For it being a brand new franchise, which I'm sure now it will be.
Oh, it will.
At the
It will have
response that
sequels.
Horizon Zero Dawn has gotten, probably
Yeah.
2 E3s from now, we're going to see
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Well, and the thing about it too
Return of Hades.
is I honestly was kind of like going. I was like, I almost got the. See, that was the thing. Like Last of Us, I was like, okay, I'm fine if this was a standalone game and never got anything else. This one, by the end of it, I was legitimately like, I don't want this game to end.
Wow.
I want to keep being able to play it and be able to come back to it. So yeah, give me a second one.
Nice.
But then I was also like, how are they going to get a second one? Where's it going to go? And so it was really great that they did give the post credit scene with Silence, and you're like, oh, that's where it's going to come from.
What if the whole next game is just him learning and it just really reinforces that books are for chumps? I'm calling it.
theme.
The
He learns.
whole thing.
He's just sitting there learning, and you just have to like do these like mini games to unlock
you just
different
have to,
things
like,
out of
read.
Hades.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then he gets it, and he's like, I found it. And then out of the shadows, Ayla comes up and is like, nope.
And it's like knowledge and reading is for chumps. Like,
Oh, and then Silence is actually voiced and acted by Lance Reddick, who I don't know if you've seen him.
Reddick. That sounds familiar.
Good name.
He's in crap. What's the show he's in? He's been in the John Wick movies, Keanu Reeves, John Wick movies. He's also what is the show? It's like the sci-fi like time traveling show that came out. Fringe. He's in Fringe.
Oh, he's in.
Oh, this guy's the
Lance
shit.
Reddick.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
he's awesome.
So he's Silence.
Look at his face.
Oh my God, dude! Have you ever watched Fringe?
No.
Fringe is
It's
good.
awesome. It's really good.
So yeah, so he's
oh
Silence.
my gosh.
Wow.
So
Okay, now I want to play it.
there you go. That's all I had to do.
I just needed Lance Reddick.
But yeah, so he did an outstanding job too. He's been in actually a couple video games as of late. Like I think he's in Quantum Break and
Because he's a literal badass.
oh,
Yeah,
he's
he
awesome.
just-
He's
I love
so
Lance Reddick.
awesome.
Anything
God,
he's in
cool.
gets like 10 extra bonus awesome points. It's just he's great. So that was the other thing when I saw
Nice.
like the trailers and everything. I was like, ooh, a Lance Reddick video
Reddick.
game.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm into this.
I'm sure that's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
Zach.
I like it a lot.
I did. I was like, I like this a lot. Okay, so yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up all I had. Any questions on it from anything that I've said? Anything at all? No. Okay.
All right. Good.
Well, there we go. Play Horizon Zero
satisfied.
Dawn, the latest game from Guerrilla Games. It's
Team
great.
chat.
It's awesome. Team chat approves.
Seal
Faux
of
show.
approval. Okay.
That'll be the cover up from now on.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, it's great. Anything else we want to touch on before we wrap this episode?
I
up?
did think of something.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I was going to see if we had
Oh,
anything
okay,
else we want to
gotcha.
talk
Never
because
mind,
I've been
never
talking a
mind,
whole
ready.
lot, so I wanted to give you guys a chance to talk about
No.
anything else you want to talk about before we
No
close this
final
one out.
thoughts. I used all of my brain power to think of something.
Alrighty.
For your song.
Well,
For
then
my song.
without further ado, then here is Mogan's song
Okay.
hint for this week.
Pick your fighters
It's Pikmin.
and prepare yourself. No, what?
Sorry.
Choose your fighters and prepare yourself for one killer game of volleyball.
Ooh.
I know this.
No, you don't.
Yes, I
no,
do.
you don't. When
He
you
thinks
think-
he knows it.
You think you know.
He thinks he
You
knows
don't even
it.
know.
You don't even know, man.
No, man.
Okay, so one,
Choose
Out
your
of it.
so one more time. It's
choose your fighters and prepare yourself for one killer game of volleyball.
okay. So there's your song and hint for this week. This contest goes live on May 31st. This is our third time trying this. It's one of those days.
Dad keeps messing him up.
I'm just telling you the error.
I know. I appreciate the correction. So May 31st is when the contest goes live at 9 a.m. First person, we'll send out a post on our Facebook and Twitter. First person to correctly reply to those posts with this game that the song is from gets to send us a song and hint for a future episode. Well,
I'm exhausted.
hopefully I didn't bore everyone to death with the Horizon, and hopefully I didn't spoil anything for anybody who was trying to save it for themselves. But that has been our review of Horizon Zero Dawn. Team Chat, seal of approval. But that brings this episode of Team Chat Podcast to a close. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Bye.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
See ya.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around for the song.